Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. So, as you all know, that we were doing chapter number 4, that is Introduction to Business Organization. In this, we have discussed about what is business organization, means what is business undertakings, and also we discussed about the features. Then we also discussed about what are the types of business organization. In that, it is divided into 3 parts, that is private sectors, public sectors, as well as that is joint sector undertakings. 3 types we have discussed. So I think we discussed in detail about the private sector undertakings, that is the private sector undertakings that is owned, managed and controlled by the private individuals, private entrepreneurs. Okay. And the capital investment, everything that is done by the private individuals, the whole control, everything that is done by the private individuals. It can be in the form of sole proprietorship, it can be in the form of partnership, it can be in the form of cooperative organization, it can be in the form of joint stock company. The main motive of these private business concerns, or you can say private sector enterprises, is profit motive, because profit is very essential for the growth and development of business organization. Then we did about the public sector undertakings. As the name indicates, public sector. Public sector means the sectors which are directly under the control of the government. Okay, public sector undertakings. Under that also we have different types that we will study in another chapter, that is public sector undertakings are totally owned and controlled, monitored, managed, everything capital investment that is done by the government, either the central government or the state government. You can see the public sector enterprises in the form of departmental undertakings, which is directly under the control of the ministry. Okay. Then you will find the public corporations, which are directly under the control of the state legislature, that is the act of parliament. Like you must have heard of UTI, Unit Trust of India, Life Insurance Corporation. You must have heard of all these. These are in the hands of the acts of parliament or state legislature, and they will be called as public corporations. Okay. And these departmental undertakings, like you must have heard of SAIL, GAIL, all these NTPC, they are directly in the hands of the government, that is under the departmental undertakings. Okay. Now, one more thing, that is about the government companies. Even under the public sector enterprises, you will find government companies. These three types are there: departmental undertakings, public corporation, and government companies. Government companies, they are registered under Indian Companies Act 2013. Now we are taking as 2013, new amendment. Okay. So there are many organizations. It follows the, you can say, the policies, procedures of the provisions which are given in the Companies Act 2013. Okay. So all these are called as public sector enterprises. And you know what is the main motive of these public sector enterprises? As the main motive of private sector enterprises was profit motive, here the main motive of public sector enterprise is just the vice versa, that is service motive. Because they are formed to provide welfare to the society, to the community. Okay. They are accountable to the public. If anything will go wrong, the books, account books, whatever that is, it is publicly, it has to be shown, and it is a matter of discussion in the parliament also. Okay. Bureaucratic control means the rules, regulations that will be followed, which all that will be prepared by the government, and the government is going to means prepare all these rules and regulations, and these organizations are going to follow all those rules and regulations prepared by the government. State financing, financial help, everything, owned, managed, controlling everything, monitoring power, controlling power, capital investment, everything is done by the, that is the government. Either it will be under the state government or it will be under the central government. Okay. So this is all about the public sector enterprises. I hope these two enterprises are absolutely clear to you. One which is totally in the hands of the private sectors, the other it is totally in the hands of the government, okay, of that particular country. Here, the third one is related to joint sector undertakings. As the name indicates, joint. Joint means it includes the joint participation of public sector, private sector, okay, government, that is, and even the foreign participation. It includes foreign participation also. So here, if you have to describe, I have made this table: government, public, private owners, and foreign investors. Here, public means public company. Okay, public means public company. Please don't get confused with this government and public. Here, public means public company. Okay. So here, if you see that without foreign participation and with foreign participation, you also please make this table, because you will find it very easier to remember it. Normally, the students make a mistake. And if it will be asked that what is joint sector enterprise, okay, so you will have to define all these. Okay, you will have to define like this. It's not only that if you will define without foreign participation, then you will get the marks. You have to define without foreign participation and with foreign participation. Here it is government. If it is without foreign participation, the percentage of government will be 26%. Then the percentage of public will be 49%. Then private entrepreneurs will be 25%. And it is without foreign participation, so foreign investors will be nil. Okay, foreign investors will be nil. Then over here, with foreign participation, if you see, under the joint sector, it is the combination of all public, government, public, private entrepreneurs, and the foreign participation. If it is with foreign participation, now what will be the share of the government? It will be 25%. What will be the share of the public? It will be 35%. And what will be the share of private entrepreneurs? It will be 20%. And the share of foreign entrepreneurs, foreign investors, that will be 20%. So you will have to remember it. So which is having the highest participation? In both, the public is having the highest participation. Public means issuing shares to the general public, okay, and raising funds. So here the participation of public, that is 49% without foreign participation, and here it is with foreign participation, it is only 35%. Have you seen? Here the foreign participation has increased, that is why here it has decreased from 49% to 35%. This has decreased from 26% to 25%, and here it has decreased from 25% to 20%. Because we are giving 20% to the foreign entrepreneurs. So here all these together, they will combine and they will conduct a business for the welfare of the society. Okay. So what is special about it? You can take the examples over here. It has taken Cochin refineries. It is given at the last. Gujarat State Fertilizers, Maruti Udyog, all these are there, no? Goa Carbon Limited, Dielectric Magnetics, all these are there. The examples, okay? Maharashtra Scooters Limited, all these are the examples of joint sector. Okay, there are many examples. You can also go through. If you will try to find it out, you will get, there are so many joint sector enterprises where jointly the government, the public, the private individuals, and the foreign entrepreneurs are participating. So you know what they will do? They all will combine their resources all together, and then they will start a business. So here you can see a big business organization can be started, but there are also chances of clashes, because when so many people will be there, so there will be more and more chances of disputes. Okay, so here exclusively private sector is there, so all management control is in the hands of the private sector. Here public sector is there, so everything is in the hands of the government. All decisions are taken by the government. Here there are mixed, it is mixed ownership. No, mixed ownership of the government also is there. Public is also there. Private individuals are also there. Foreign participation is also there. So there can be a problem of dispute. Managerial point of view, from the managerial point of view, it's very good that even the foreign participation will be there, foreign investors will be there, foreign guidance will be there. So it will be very fruitful for the business organization. But at the same time, there are more chances of disputes and quarrels. Okay, so here you can see it is a mixed ownership of government, private entrepreneurs, and investing public jointly owned as a joint enterprise. Then combined management, they all together, they will manage. Management and control of joint sector lies with the nominees or the representatives of the government, private businessmen, and the public. Okay. If it is with foreign participation, so foreign representatives will also be there to participate in the management. Share capital, as I have already told you, this is a share capital. This is what? This is the investment made by these government investment without foreign participation is 26%, public is 49%, and private is 25%. The same thing is given in the share capital. This is the share capital investment. Okay. So now I think all these three are clear. What is public sector, what is private sector, and what is joint sector. Now, on the next page, if you come, you'll find that there is a comparison between public, private, and joint sector. Now you have come to know what is public sector, what is private sector, what is joint sector. Now I'm not going to do this, okay? It is in the syllabus, you will do it yourself. All these points are absolutely clear. If any point that will not be clear, you can ask me in the next lecture, okay? So this I'm not going to take up. Already we have done the features. Already we have done the meaning. So better you can understand and you can differentiate between public, private, and joint sectors. Okay. So all these things are there. Now I'll move towards the forms of private sector organization. Forms of private sector organization. Forms of private sector undertakings. So under this forms of private sector undertakings, first is sole proprietorship. Second is partnership. Joint in family. Joint stock company. And fifth is cooperative organization. Sole proprietorship, partnership, joint Hindu family, cooperative organizations, joint stock companies. These are there in the syllabus. After this, you'll study all these topics as a separate chapter, but joint Hindu family is not there in your syllabus. Okay, so joint Hindu family you will not do. Rest all other, it is there in the syllabus, and separate chapters are allotted for that. Sole proprietorship is one chapter separately you will study. Then joint stock company, partnership, cooperative organization, all these four forms of business organization, it is there in the syllabus, and separately we will do in different chapters. Okay. Right now, what you have to understand over here, we are going to focus in detail about the private sector enterprises. Okay. All these comes under the private sector enterprises. Okay. I've told you what are the examples of private sector enterprises. Examples: Reliance Industries, Tata Company. All these are there, no? Wipro, Infosys. All these are there. Which one is the top company in India? Which one is the top company in India? First three top companies. Smedha.
Miss Reliance Industry Limited.
Okay, Reliance is on the top in India.
Miss then Tata.
Okay, no, not Tata. If we combine both public and private sector all together, we will find that first number is Reliance Industries. Then the second number is Oil Corporation, the Indian Oil Corporation of India. And the
ONGC.
third one is, you have heard of ONGC, Oil and Natural Gas Corporation. So it is ONGC. This is first three top class companies. Okay, it includes both private and public companies. Okay, this Tata and all these, they are on 6th and 7th number. Okay, and which companies on the top in the world? In the world, which company is on the top? Apple company. Apple, everybody has heard. Using mobile phones. They are there no to provide services, mobile phone services. Okay. Many other products are also there. Not too much, but yes, electronic items are there. Okay. Then second is, I think, Amazon. Amazon is at the second number. Third is Google. All these are there. There will be a list. You will find top 10 companies in the world, top 10 companies in India, then you will find the list. Okay. Try to understand these things. You'll get the full details about all these things. So these are the top class companies, how they have become top. Okay, on what grounds we say that they are on the top? What type of business structure? What is the total revenue, earnings? That will be based on that only. Okay. So here we are going to discuss in detail about the private sector. Let us go through the brief view of all these. First one is sole proprietorship form of business organization. In sole proprietorship form of business organization, you will find that there is a single person who invests capital. Sole means single. Proprietorship means ownership. Sole here means, sole means single. Single. And proprietorship means ownership. Ownership. So here, this type of business is called as single ownership. Okay, a single person is there to own, manage, control, take decisions of the business. He undertakes all the risks and uncertainties, bears all the risk, and he's the person only in the business to share all the profit and losses, bear the losses. He takes away all the profit and bears the complete loss of the business, because no other person is there in the ownership that they will be there to share the losses or profits. Okay, so a lot of freedom is there in this type of business, because a single person is there, he has to take all the decisions. So very easily he can take all the decisions. Nobody will be there to interfere in that. Okay, but there are certain limitations also. A single person, if he is not well or if he dies, the business automatically it will come to an end. Okay, what about the capital resources? A single person has got certain limitations. He may not raise a large amount of financial resources. That is why you will find that sole proprietorship form of business organization, normally it is seen in a small scale. Okay, because due to the inability of arrangement of financial resources. Okay, so normally you will find the small scale business, small scale industries that are run under the sole proprietorship form of business organization due to its certain limitations. Because a single person has got certain limitations, it cannot make the arrangements of huge financial resources. And there are also limitations of controlling and managing the business. A single person cannot control a very big and large business. So there are certain limitations. So you'll find only small business undertakings under this sole proprietorship form of business organization. Now the second one is partnership form of business organization. As the name indicates, now one more thing I should tell you before moving towards this partnership. This sole proprietorship form of business organization, under this form of business organization, there is no act under which this type of business is registered. Okay, there's no such act prescribed. Only In some cases, compulsory license that is to be taken, okay, like running a chemist shop or like running a restaurant, and also food license and all these types of things that has to be taken. Okay. Otherwise, any act is not there under which that is going to be registered. Whereas when we move towards the partnership form of business organization, here the business has to be registered under Indian Partnership Act 1930. Please remember it. When we will do partnership, I will ask you. This partnership business is registered under Indian Partnership Act 1932. Okay? But you know, the registration is not compulsory. And the agreement between the partners can be oral and written also. But generally, to avoid the dispute, okay, confusions, it is better to have the written agreement. That is called as partnership deed, agreement between all the partners. Okay. Now, to call as a partner, at least 2 persons should be there. Single person cannot be called as a partner. So minimum 2 persons should be there to call as a partner. So the minimum amount of members, that is 2. And the maximum, according to Indian Companies Act 2013, though it is registered under Indian Partnership Act 1932, but the maximum number of members that has been stated by the Companies Act 2013, that is 100. Okay. In the partnership business, the maximum number of members that should be 100, not more than 100. And before that, it was 20 in case of general business and 10 in case of banking business. Okay. Partnership form of business organization, the minimum number of members is 2 and maximum, previously it was 10 in case of banking business and 20 in case of general business. Now, according to Indian Companies Act 2013, new amendment, the limit has been increased. It has been enhanced to 100 members, but not more than 100. I hope that is clear. Okay. Now, over here, you can state that partnership is form of business organization. It is the relation between 2 or more than 2 persons who have agreed to share the profit of the business carried on by all or any one of them acting for all. It is not necessary that all the members should participate in the management. Okay. 1 partner, 2 partner, 3 partners, they can work as the agent of other partners and they can manage all the business. Other partners, they have the privilege of being as active partners also, being as sleeping dormant partners also. Inactive partners also means giving only their name, not participating in the management. Okay. So these types of conditions are also available with the partnership form of business organization. But still, it is not very big type of business organization. It is smaller than the company form of business organization, but it is bigger than the sole proprietorship form of business organization. The capital arrangement in this partnership form of business organization is more than the sole proprietorship form of business organization because the number of members are more than the sole proprietorship, and the capital arrangement through these members can be more than the sole proprietorship form of business organization. There, only a single person is there to manage, control, bears all the risk and bear all the losses, share all the profit. Here, there are members to share the profits and losses, okay, to take different types of decisions which are there in the business, which are to be taken in the business. So over here, it is convenient also. And as there are many members, means it can 100 members can be there maximum. So as the number of members will increase, there will be more and more chance of dispute and quarrel that may affect the decisions of the business. There may be delay in the decision making due to dispute and quarrel, which is not in the case of sole proprietorship form of business organization. So I hope these things are clear to you. Again, these things will be repeated when we will start partnership form of business organization. Then joint Hindu family. Joint Hindu family, it is not directly there in the syllabus. Okay, but here it is given as a form of business organization, so we will do it. Joint Hindu family, it is a family business. Okay, and it works on, as you can say, that the head of the family is called as Karta. Okay, the head of the family is called as Karta, and all other members of the families, they are called as co-parceners. Okay, co-parceners. It is a type of family business and it is based on laws of inheritance. This joint Hindu family, it is based on the laws of inheritance. Okay, where the head of the family will lead and all other all other members of the family will be the co-parceners. So this is about the joint Hindu family. Now there are special things about it. You can see the liability of every member of the family except the Karta is limited. Here the liability of Karta will be unlimited because he is the head of the family, he is running the business, and the liability of all other members, that will be limited. It is the family business. Hindu law has granted independent and corporate existence to the family. Only this much is available for this joint Hindu family. Okay, in detail, this chapter we are not going to do. It is not there in the syllabus. Only you have to remember that this type of business, it is called as a family business. It is based on laws of inheritance. The head of the family is known as Karta. The other members are called as co-parceners, and the liability of Karta is unlimited, whereas the other members' liability will be limited. Okay. Very little bit now, very few business are based on family business these days. Okay. Mostly they are in the form of sole proprietorship, partnership, as well as joint stock company. Then the fourth one, that is joint stock company. Joint stock company. And this joint stock company includes two types of companies. That is public company and the other one is private. Now you please don't get confused. This public company is not public sector. Public company is not public sector enterprises. This is public company. It is under the private ownership. Most of the students, they get confused. Okay, please don't get confused. This is public company. This is private company. They both come under the, that is, sorry, it is under the, I have made it under joint family. Here it is public company. Public company, private. By mistake, I wrote it under the joint Hindu family business. Please cross it. It is joint stock company. It is divided into two parts, that is public company and private company. Okay, joint stock company includes two types of companies, that is public company and private company. Why it is called as public company? Public company means when the company raises funds from the general public, that is called as public company. When the company does not raise funds from the general public, it is called as private company. Okay. So here joint stock company is a company which is registered under Indian Companies Act 2013. This is registered under Indian Companies Act 2000. Previously, it was registered under Indian Companies Act 1986. Conventionally, it was registered under Indian Companies Act 1956. Now we are following the provisions of Indian Companies Act 2013. Okay, so the company, it is a company, joint stock company is a company which is registered under Indian Companies Act 2013. It is called as an artificial person. Okay, it is called as an artificial person. It has a common seal. It has a perpetual existence. Perpetual means everlasting existence. It has a common seal, and the very important thing about this company is that its capital is divided into various shares. Okay, the capital is divided into various shares, and these shares are issued to the general public to raise funds. Okay, to raise funds. So here, joint stock company is normally established on a very, very large scale. It is divided into two types of companies. That is the public company and the private company. The public company has got the privilege of raising funds from the general public by issuing shares, equity shares and preference shares. Private company, they do not have the privilege of raising funds by issuing shares. Okay. This joint stock company, it is registered under Indian Companies Act 2013. And the very important thing about it is that its capital is divided into various shares, which are issued to the general public under the public company. So I hope these things are clear. Normally, the liability of the members in this public company or the private company, you can say the public company, that is limited. It is limited to the extent of shares held by them, unpaid amount of shares held by them. We will do it in detail when we will do about the companies. Company, meaning, merits, demerits, features, all that we will do in the chapter, separate chapter, when we will deal with the joint stock. Then the last one is cooperative societies. Cooperative societies, it is a type of organization. Here, the minimum number of members is 10. Cooperative societies, it is registered under Indian Cooperative Societies Act. (1912). Okay. And the minimum number of members is 10. Minimum members. This cooperative societies, it is registered under Indian Cooperative Societies Act 1912. Okay. It is registered under Indian Cooperative Societies Act 1912, and the minimum number of members, that is 10. Okay. It is based on the principle of cooperation. Okay. And the most important feature is one man, one vote. It is not like joint stock company that one share, one vote. Here it is one man, one vote. Okay, it is not based on as one share, one vote, because it is based on the principle of cooperation, and the main motive is service motive. The people from the society, from the community, they come up and form a society to help themselves. It is a self-help organization. Okay, so we will study in detail about all these also. So we have discussed in brief about all these forms of business organization, that is forms of private sector enterprises. Okay, all these will be under the private sector enterprises. There are not, you have not studied anything about over here about public sector enterprises. Only we have discussed all these which comes under the private sector enterprises. Okay. So rest we will do it tomorrow. Only one topic is left under this. We will do it tomorrow. Choice of the form of business organization. Only this is left in this. Differences between public, private and joint sector, please do it. All these points already we have discussed through the meanings as well as through the features. So only one topic is left and we will finish it. In one lecture, we will finish this chapter also. Then we will start the 5th chapter, that is sole trader. And in your first semester examination, up to 5 chapter only it will come. Okay, up to sole trader. 5 chapters will come in your first semester examination. Please note it. Okay, after completing these 5 chapters, then I will discuss related to the paper pattern. Okay, that is absolutely new for you. So I will discuss about that paper pattern. Please note the syllabus. Your syllabus for first semester examination. Now it's final. First 5 chapters will be there in the syllabus of first semester examination. I hope it's clear to everybody. Now, if you have to ask anything related to the topics that we have discussed just now, you can ask. Anybody, any point, anything which is not clear to you, you're free to ask. Astha. Yes, Astha.
Good afternoon, Miss.
Good afternoon.
Miss, on page number 58, the third point, independent management.
Independent, which topic you please tell, because in my book the page numbers are different. Under which?
Miss, characteristics of a business organization.
Characteristics of business organization, independent
Management.
So business organization, you know why it is the feature as called as independent management means whether it is a private sector, the management will be exclusively by the private entrepreneurs. If it is a public sector, the management will be exclusively by the public sector, means the government, either the central government or the state government, means the ownership is independent, free. Nobody is there to interfere in between. Okay, whether it is a public sector or whether it is a private sector. If it is a joint sector, there also the stated management is there, that who all are going to participate in the management. So here it is stated that the feature of business organization is that the management of the business is independent, free. Nobody is there to interfere in between. If it is to be managed by one person, so the single person will manage. If it is to be managed by a group of persons, so those group of persons are going to manage. Other people are not going to interfere in between, like the shareholders, employees, or any other person, or government interference will not be there. Okay. If it is a type of business organization, then only the government interference or government participation will be there. Okay. So independent means free management. Nobody is going to interfere. Anything else? Ayushi. Yes. Ayushi.
Good afternoon, Miss.
Good afternoon.
Miss, can you explain joint stock company?
Joint stock company. Joint stock company is a company which is a combination of government sectors, public participation, okay, private individuals, as well as
Joint stock company under private sector.
joint stock company you are asking.
Yes, Miss.
Okay, under private sector. Okay, I
Yes.
heard that joint. Okay. Joint stock company, you see, it is a large form of business organization. Okay. And it is registered under Indian Companies Act 2013.
Yes.
And you know, this Joint stock company, it includes two types of companies. One that is public company,
Public and private company.
private company. This public company, why? We are using a word public,
Yes, miss.
but still it is under the private sector. Why? Word public means we are using the money raised by the public. Public company under the joint stock company, they have the right and privilege to raise funds from the general public by issuing equity shares as well as preference shares. As I have told you, in the meaning that the joint stock company is a company which is called as an artificial person. Okay, it is an artificial person, means the property can be purchased and sold in the name of the company. It has a common seal. It has a perpetual existence, means everlasting existence. It doesn't come to an end immediately. Though all the members will die, then also it will not come to an end, because its existence doesn't depend on the number of members. Okay, it has its own existence, and only through court only it can be brought to an end. There are procedures to bring that to an end. And the most important thing, if you remember, I told you that its capital is divided into various shares. The capital of the company is divided into various shares, which are issued to the general public as a way of equity shares and preference shares to raise funds. That is why the public company, which is under the joint stock company, they have the privilege to issue shares to the general public. Okay. You will get more detailed knowledge about this when we will do. That is why I told you in brief. Many more things I have not told you. Okay, we will do it in much detail when we will do about the joint stock company. There are so many provisions related to that. Right now, you focus only one thing, that it is a company which is registered under Indian Companies Act 2013. It is divided into two parts, that is public company and private company. Public company can raise funds from the general public. That is why it is called as public company. Private company cannot raise funds from the general public. Okay, and it has a perpetual existence, common seal. It is called as an artificial person, and its capital is divided into various shares. Okay, right now you have to focus on these things only. When we will discuss related to this chapter in detail, then you will come to know how it is formed. There is a procedure of formation. Okay, what are the legal procedures, who forms that, promoters are there, many things in detail you will do. Memorandum of association, articles of association, many things are there. So that we will do in the formation of the. Next, yes, Ayushi Singh.
Good afternoon, Miss.
Good afternoon. What is your
Miss,
question?
in public sector undertaking,
Yes.
state financing, it is given state exchequer. Miss, what is this state exchequer?
State. In public sector, it is written where it is.
Yes, Miss. Miss, in state financing.
Okay, last word.
Yes, Miss.
You see, state exchequer. Here these know that is state financing means treasury. You have heard treasury, government treasury.
Yes, Miss.
So here it is talking about the state exchequer, means the government treasury. That is at the national level also, at the state level also. Treasury department, it is there, no? So they provide funds for the development of these types of industries. Okay, that is called as state exchequer. Okay,
Okay.
anything else? Yes, Anshika Rana. Yes, Anshika.
Good afternoon, Miss.
Good afternoon.
Miss, in public sector undertaking public accountability point.
Public accountability means, as the main aim of this public sector enterprises is service motive. Okay, you know, the government raises revenue from us only through taxes in different forms, and it becomes the duty of the government to spend for the welfare of the society and community, isn't it? So here, when the government is raising funds from us only, from the revenues from we the public only, so it is the duty of the company of this, whatever companies which are there under the public sector, it is their duty to work for the welfare of the society and community. Means if they do anything wrong, public, they will have to be answerable to the public. Okay, that is why the matter of all these public issues, public companies, means public sector enterprises, I'm not saying public company, public sector enterprises, it becomes a matter of discussion in the parliament. Whereas if you see the private companies, their account books, it doesn't become a matter of discussion under the parliament because they are answerable to the general public. Why they have misused the money? They have to explain it to the public because they are the representatives of the public and they have to think in terms of the welfare of the public. Okay. Anything else? Okay. Anything else? Anybody? Okay, so now I am ending up the class. In the next class, we will discuss about the other, only one topic is left, choice of the form of business organization. There are several factors. We will do that. Thank you very much.